Recently I've been posting videos about an exhibition that's coming up, which me and a creative artistic partner of mine have been working on developing. She's someone who I met in university and we've stayed friends since. And her and I started to collaborate mid last year. We were visiting farms and looking at different pieces of machinery. Now, some of these drawings which I make for this project can become quite abstract for a couple of reasons. Firstly, the vantage point that I have when I'm taking the photograph, for this subject at least, is quite low. I do that because I like certain things looking monumental, you know. I'm so low down that it will tower above me, and this abstracts the form of the subject. Second is that we are unfamiliar with a lot of these machines. I still really don't know what it's called, what it does. You can kind of see part of its function, and that's the third reason why it's abstracted, is that it's being used, which means that it's all tangled up with hay, grass, straw. I don't really know what's knotted up in the teeth of this machine, but it is it's been sat there for some time, and whatever is wrapped up in it has become weathered and matted, and it has this kind of green, grey kind of moss all over it. It's not literally moss, but it kind of looks as though it's coated with a tone. This isn't gross, this isn't disgusting, it's nice to me, it's beautiful. And that's what I'm trying to capture, is the interest of the design of these things, the kind of the textures and the different complicated structures of the bits of nature, the organic matter that's tangled up in the components of these machines. So when I ask, what am I drawing? I don't have the answer either. A farmer could probably say, oh, I'll tell you what that is. That is a combine harvester. I've no idea. I don't know. So it's basically another piece of farming equipment that we came across and started to circle and photograph and ooh and ah at. We love these things, and this is what we're focusing on, is different aspects of farming that we find interesting, that we think can create a kind of spectacle, not in the way of being, you know, flashy and like a fanfare, but being an artistic environment where people can enter the gallery space and it feels as though you've walked through a portal into a different realm, and you are now in this space where there are specific colours and textures and shapes and bits of information that you're processing. That's what we find interesting, and that's what we've been working on. It might be a way of talking around things that are quite simple, but to me it's quite difficult to keep things simple and yet communicate things which have several layers and ideas wrapped up in them. It's not things that we've said, right, this is idea number one, this is idea number two, and have a list of ideas and concepts, but we do discuss what's important to us and what we engage with on these trips. Now, this is when we walk into the fields and onto the farming land, the property of these farmers, and we discuss with them, can we go and photograph your machinery? And they're always very generous and inviting. I mean, we show them our work and introduce ourselves as artists, and I think they're a bit more disarmed that we're not there to do a hit piece, and I don't think they'd mind if we were. I think farmers feel a bit more secure about who they are and what they do, because even if we were saying, look at what these farmers are doing, they'd say, yeah, this is what we're doing. by the way, keeping the economy going and keeping people fed with, produce. Anyway, the point being is that this is one of those trips which had a unique interest for me, because we sometimes go into the field and we see the cattle, which are amazing, or the farmland as far as the fences and the different, the fences may just sound like, a square field with fences around the outside, but it's not. Sometimes you go to there and there's a barn, and alongside the barn there's a kind of corridor, and there'll be several fences where sheep will be getting penned in only to filter them out, and I think it's either for inoculating them or whatever it is. I think it's called fly strike is another thing which they try to make sure that they treat the cattle for. So I'm not sure if that's what I've seen, but I definitely have seen these complicated fences that are separating the sheep from each other as they go through this corridor, not for any nefarious means, but to be processed in a certain way so that they're being treated and there's not chaos, so that you can kind of say, right, this many sheep. I don't know, I need to ask the farmers really. But when you see it, if you pay attention and take an interest in it, it can be quite fascinating. It can be something which is either a curiosity or just an interesting sight. It's like watching a scene from an art film. It's something which you can easily ignore and overlook. But that's part of why I think that doing this work is important, is to try and highlight and put into focus things which we haven't really appreciated and admired closely enough. I don't see lots of work about farming and agriculture. I've seen little bits around the periphery of what we're doing, but I'm quite excited about touching on a subject which I don't see lots of people covering in this way. And I think there's lots of things to capitalize on when it comes to this subject. This specific piece of machinery was something which I wanted to draw with charcoals and chalk pencil, as you can see. So it was a case of working through from the hard pencil, medium and soft, the soft being the darkest, and trying to make sense of what I'm seeing. There are strange shapes and an amazing structure, and I didn't want to do a structural drawing underneath and then do the tones on top. I wanted to just draw the shapes and let the form appear, just materialize on the page, and that's what I feel like happens in this video. That's why I find it quite nice and thought I'd share it with you. It's one of these pieces which this will be framed and exhibited at the end of the year. We have, I say the end of the year, it's the start of September until the start of October. So it's for a month we have this exhibition space in Carnarvon. Beautiful place and a lovely gallery, and I invite you to come and see the exhibition if you can. I've already made the promotional poster and promotional video for the exhibition, and that's been approved as well by my working partner. She's quite happy with it, just like I am. I think keep it simple but eye-catching, and I'm really excited about how it looks. We've got certain colour themes that we're working on that are very earthy tones, as well as strong black and white, consistent theme throughout the work. So that's really what we're trying to stick to. I want it to be recognisable as our work, eye-catching for anyone who's not familiar, and intriguing for people who like art and people who are just curious about the design work and the forms that we're presenting. I think we've got a lot of that going on. It is an interesting project. It's something which I'm now working on in this sketchbook here. This is my movement sketchbook. Now this drawing you're seeing in this video is not in the movement sketchbook. It's on a pad which has removable pages, which I will be then framing the work, and I'll be doing several of them, but this is just one. And in this sketchbook I've been working on different concepts of how to exhibit other pieces, because this piece that you're seeing me work on is a little bit more straightforward and orthodox. It's an image, it's an abstract image, but it's an image on toned paper that will go into a frame and go on the wall. That could go into any gallery for sale. It's just that it won't be it wouldn't be a normal image. It wouldn't be like looking at, you know, a drawing of a tractor. It's a drawing of a part of a machine from a strange angle that's covered in dirt, and that's what I quite like about it. Whereas what I'm doing for the other exhibits is trying to make it even more abstract, and then not exhibiting it in a frame or on the wall necessarily. So trying to consider how else to exhibit drawings and 2D artwork. You have the picture plane, which is the surface. You create depth within that picture plane, and then how can you exhibit that in a more creative way? And that's one of the challenges that I've really enjoyed engaging with. It's something which I feel could really set us apart from a normal exhibition and make people quite excited about the subject, and hopefully about the artwork and the artists who created it. That's the concept. That's the hope. And yeah, this piece itself I think is quite nice. I do like this tone paper. I'm going to do several on this. I also have another stack of sheets that are off-white. They're not grey like this, they are a sort of yellowish colour but quite light, but I think that'll be nice for strong black and white, maybe ink drawings. I've invested in a natural dyes book, so I'm going to be foraging for, you know, natural materials in order to create dyes and inks, so that I can then produce work that has certain colours that come from nature itself. That's my intention, and that is what I'm working towards. This project is something which has taken about a year and a half so far. Maybe not a year and a half actually, I think it's been just over a year. But we are finally picking up momentum. I've done lots and lots of drawings that I haven't shown yet. Lots of things that are much quicker sessions. This one took a couple of different sessions to get it finished because it's so complicated, and I just had to take a break and step away from it for a while and then return to it to try and see it more clearly. But I'll be sharing bits and pieces and parts of the journey so that you can see what it takes to make an exhibition. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.